everyone, and welcome to a new edition of Africa Today. We got today very interesting topics concerning or related to the African continent, and actually related to the exerted effort from the Egyptian side for integration and to enhance integration among the African countries. First of all, we're going to discuss the outcomes of the Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati's visit to Ghana, where he emphasized the Deputy Chairperson of the African Union commissions Egypt's a crucial role in promoting peace and sustainability and sustainable development in the continent. Second, we're gonna have a look to the and move to Ethiopia, where the death toll from the two landslides in southern Ethiopia has jumped to 229 and could be further maybe search for, and they are still searching for survivors and casualties, and maybe it will, the number will raise. Three, we're gonna move to Morocco, where UNESCO is set to evaluate Rabat's heritage conservation as part of the annual meeting in India, and the city where World Heritage sit a rich history spanning from 1184 and aims to enhance its status as both Morocco's administrative and cultural capital. So we'll go for a short break and we'll start right away.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Badr Abdelati highlighted the significance of the Egyptian leadership in maintaining peace and promoting sustainable development in Africa during a meeting with Monique, the Deputy Chairperson of the African Union Commission. FM Abdelati's meeting with Chairperson Monique came on the sideline of his participation at the 6th mid-year coordination meeting of the AU held in Ghanaian capital of Accra. According to a Foreign Ministry statement, Abdelati also met with President of the African Export-Import Bank, Benedict Okey, to discuss means of reinforcing collaboration between the two sides. This meeting also tackled the financing of the AU Peace Fund and its role in supporting intra-African trade. In a separate meeting, the Foreign Minister stressed to his Rwandan counterpart that Egypt's commitment to cooperating with Rwanda in technical training and capacity building. According to the statement, Abdelati said Egypt looks forward to increasing trade exchange between the two sides and in investment in Rwanda. FM meetings aimed to coordinate the joint African action process, evaluate the progress achieved in continental and regional integration, and follow up on bilateral relations between Egypt and the African countries.
So welcome back again, and now we are delighted to have over the phone Mr. Milad Momtaz, the international expert in international affairs. Mr. Milad, glad to have you with us.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So please would you just elaborate to us the essential Egyptian role in the African continent to enhance the integration among the African countries?
I believe in the past decade, Egypt has actively pursued a leadership role within the African Union, specifically on issues of peace and sustainable development. In my mind, one of the most important roles that Egypt has been playing is through peacekeeping, because Egypt is a major contributor to African Union peacekeeping missions, deploying troops to conflict zones, for example, like in South Sudan and Somaliland. Additionally, and more importantly to me, is conflict resolution, because Egypt has been championing dialogue and mediation as solutions to conflict. For example, like an initiative, a crucial initiative, which is called the Aswan Forum for Sustainable Peace and Development, which was launched in 2019. This initiative aims to foster dialogue and find African-led solutions to regional issues. And if you don't mind, I believe conflict resolution is much more important even than peacekeeping. Why? Because Egypt has gained very important experience in diplomacy and conflict resolution. It's all about diplomacy and diplomatic measures. And Egypt, as a peaceful nation in the continent, has been trying actually to lay that foundation in the continent. On the other hand, Egypt has been trying to actually to foster different initiatives concerning development and whatsoever. One of the most important initiatives in this regard started 2011, which is called and we have been chairing the steering committee of the initiative, which is called the New Partnership for African Development, the NEPAD, which focuses primarily in areas like agriculture, infrastructure development, and market access. All these areas are very crucial for sustainable growth in the region or in the continent, namely. On the other hand, economic integration in the continent has been very crucial because that's one of the shortages in the continent. We, as you know, because we have more than 50 nations in the continent, we strongly believe that that it's highly potential, all 50 countries. However, what we lack is economic integration. That's what Egypt has been trying to promote. Egypt has been trying to promote, for example, regional trade agreements between the nations. Egypt has been trying to foster infrastructure projects in the continent as well. For example, to improve connectivity between different countries in the continent. Another point I'd like to highlight here that I think happened like 4 years ago during the pandemic. We need to know that Egypt provided medical aid and vaccines to African countries during the pandemic. And that, of course, demonstrates solidarity with other African countries.
Yep, it was a great contribution from the Egyptian side.
Taken steps to be a leader, true leader in the African peace and development.
Yep. So, as you mentioned, Mr. Milad, actually Egypt is first of all concentrating and focusing on resolving first of all the conflicts within the countries of the continent. First of all, because no stability, no development without peace and stability. So this is what we believe in Egypt and what the leadership in Egypt does believe in. So why do you believe that the Egyptian leadership is actually focusing on education and training also as a contribution for the long-term development in the continent as well, after revealing the peace, I mean?
The whole point here is about Egyptian prime goals in this regard. Egypt sees the real potential of this continent, which has been, I think, ignored or downplayed for a long time. So Egypt, I think Egypt is one of the countries that knows best about this continent. We don't want to take advantage of this continent because part and parcel, we are an integral component of this continent. Unlike what has been doing, or more accurately, what has been actually doing, from other countries to the continent. We are not a colonial power by all means. And of course, the continent has seen very negative phases in the history, especially modern times in the continent. So Egypt knows best about the continent. The last 10 years or the last decade, I think Egypt has been trying to put Africa back on the right track. That's a crucial thing. How, that's very important. We need to ask how. Because, as I said, as we know best, so we need to act accordingly. We need actually to bridge the gap between Africa and the world, namely when it comes to Western powers, and I would say particularly and namely Europe and the United States of America. We need actually to bridge that gap. We need actually to speak in their tongue, the actual interest of this continent.
Yep. One of the very important and essential meetings within the mid-year African Union coordination meeting was actually a meeting between Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati and his Sudanese counterpart. And actually concerning the Sudanese cause, it's so clear how Egypt is really concerned and the exerted efforts from the Egyptian side to solve the conflict in Sudan. So how do you just elaborate also this?
I think what's been going on in Sudan is very dangerous and alarming at the same time. Because we are, we don't need to explain or to elaborate on the importance of Sudan to Egypt and Egypt to Sudan.
Yep.
That's pretty clear, and historically speaking, it's very well known. Yep. However, what's being going on in Sudan is very dangerous, and it's day one, and I believe in my mind, not
it's a crucial and critical for
day
Egypt.
One, before day one.
Yep. Yep.
Because Egypt has been on their side during the revolution that they had, a couple of years ago. And we supported the revolution, we supported the new regime, and we said that, okay, you know what, Egypt, Sudan is on the right track now. And after that conflict started, we have been trying actually to take active steps diplomatically. And let me point out to what I said earlier to diplomacy and the importance of diplomacy in that regard. We have been trying very vigorously to get the different parties and the different factions to sit on the same table. And I'd like to highlight something else which is very crucial. It's not that simple. Let me put it straightforward. It's not that easy. So when we get everyone together to sit at the same table and start negotiating and start highlighting the atrocities and the non-stop agony happening in Sudan to everyone, all parties, I think, hopefully that they would understand that it's time to stop the bloodshed in Sudan. Something else regarding, the crisis in Sudan. Our brethren from Sudan coming into Egypt. We've never called them refugees. And this is something that's very crucial to me.
Yep.
We call them brothers and sisters coming to Egypt because we fully understand.
Regardless from where they are coming, yes, you're right. Yep. Yes, Mr. Milad?
Yes?
Hearing you. Yeah. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that, okay, we get, and we need to highlight that, okay, we talk about millions of people coming from Sudan. We have been trying to make their lives easier because we fully understand that the suffering they have been through. We deal with them the same way like Egyptians, same way, wholeheartedly, we welcome them. And that, despite the fact that, okay, everyone knows that the hardships, economic hardships, Egypt has been facing. But we've never said no to them, okay, our brethren from Sudan. And another level of tackling the issue or the crisis in Sudan is getting the international community to understand how dangerous the situation is in Sudan. Okay, this is another crucial thing. We have been trying to take the entire issue to, for example, the United Nations, the Security Council, and everyone else in the world, because the international community, I think, they need to play a much more active role in Sudan.
Yep, and this is what they do believe in, the strategic role of the Egyptian side. So, Mr. Milad Momtaz, expert in international affairs, you provided us really with the valuable insights into the diplomatic and economic strategies and define Egypt's influence in the African continent. Thank you for being with us. And now we're moving now to the other sad incidents in Ethiopia, actually, where the death toll from the two landslides in a remote region of southern Ethiopia on Monday has risen to 229. The Communication Affairs Department of Gova Zone said Tuesday that 148 males and 81 females have been killed. Let's follow.
Using shovels on their bare hands, local residents in Ethiopia searched desperately for survivors after a landslide in a remote area of southern of the capital killed at least 229 people, the deadliest such disaster recorded in the Horn of Africa nation. Crowds gathered at the site of the tragedy in an isolated and mountainous area of South Ethiopia regional state, according to images posted on social media by the local authority. The local Communications Affairs Department said in a statement that so far 148 men and 81 women are confirmed to have lost their lives after the disaster struck in The Kensho Sacha locally in the Gova zone on Monday. Government-owned Ethiopian Broadcaster Corporation reported earlier that 5 people had been pulled alive from the mud and were receiving treatment and medical facilities. It quoted local administrator as saying that most of the victims were buried after they went to help the inhabitants of the house hit by an initial landslide. He added that those who rushed for life-saving work have perished in the disaster, including the locally administrated teachers, health professionals, and agriculture professionals. Images posted on social media by the Gova authority showed residents carrying bodies of the dead on makeshift stretchers, some wrapped in plastic sheeting. Ethiopia, the second most populous country in Africa, with around 120 million people, is highly vulnerable to climate disasters, including flooding and drought.
Welcome back again, dear viewers. And now we're moving to the UNESCO's annual World Heritage Committee meeting in New Delhi, Rabat, Morocco's capital, which will be assessed for its heritage conservation efforts. So, known for its ancient architecture and historical significance, Rabat is striving to be recognized not just as the administrative center, but also as a cultural hub. Let's watch this.
Morocco's capital, Rabat, is one of the 124 World Heritage Sites to be assessed for the state of its conservation at the UNESCO Committee's annual meeting in India. With architecture dating back to 1184, the city is one of the most ancient in the world, and its numerous monuments depict the many different periods of Moroccan history. Mosques dating back nearly 1,000 years blend into the new urban town built under the French protectorate in the early 19th. Mohammed El-Kourombi, a curator of the historical monuments at the Culture Ministry in Rabat, said that Morocco, as one of the most ancient countries in the world, by virtue of its strategic location, has been home to a group of civilizations from the prehistoric period to the present day. He said having World Heritage status is both an honor and a responsibility. He emphasized that they must take care of these historical monuments because UNESCO, along with the Ministry of Culture and local partners, is working to support and promote this heritage. He noted that when people visit Morocco, they often only go to Fez or Marrakesh. The royal vision is to establish Rabat not only as the administrative capital but also as the cultural capital, the city of lights. These efforts are intended to attract more tourists. Tourism plays a pivotal role in enhancing Rabat's historical heritage, and restoration projects use traditional methods and materials to preserve the original design. UNESCO's World Heritage Committee holds its 46th session from the 21st to the 31st of July in New Delhi.
Well, dear viewers, by this we come to the end of our today's edition of Africa Today. Thank you for watching and stay tuned.